Emotional landmines. That's what I call them. These curious, invisible tripwires hidden in the innocent fields of modern love. And today, yes, today, we're going to dig into one of the most explosive types of all, the challenges of anxious-avoidant relationships. Now, don't run off just yet. This isn't another bleak tale of romantic despair. No, it's a vivid journey, filled with heartbreak, hope, and a dash of humor. And if you've ever wondered why you chase love like a starving poet while your partner withdraws like a monk in a thunderstorm, well, this one's for you. Let's begin with a story. Picture a couple. Let's call them Claire and Daniel. Claire is warm, fiery, always seeking closeness, like a sunflower leaning towards the sun. Daniel, on the other hand, is more like a hedgehog, prickly when approached too suddenly, but quite lovely once you know how to handle him. Claire texts, "Where are you? I miss you." Daniel replies 2 hours later, "Busy." Now Claire is spiraling, questioning her worth, replaying every moment, rereading messages like they're sacred scripture. Meanwhile, Daniel's in the next room, feeling smothered and dreaming of a quiet beach in Portugal. Alone. You see, what we've stumbled upon here is not merely a relationship gone awry. It's the intersection of two emotional blueprints, laid down in childhood and armed with enough confusion to rival a Greek tragedy. Attachment theory, as crafted by the good doctor John Bowlby back in the 50s, splits us into categories, like a psychological Hogwarts sorting hat, but instead of Gryffindors and Hufflepuffs, we've got the secure, the anxious, and the avoidant. The securely attached folks. Oh, they're the unicorns, confident communicators, emotionally balanced, often raised by parents who didn't disappear emotionally every time the cat sneezed. They're like Labradors, lovable, loyal, and maddeningly well-adjusted. But Claire? She's the anxious type. And Daniel? He's your classic avoidant. Like emotional oil and water, they keep trying to mix but end up splashing all over the kitchen floor. What happens, you ask, when these two meet? Oh, it's a show. A very private, very painful, often quite dramatic play, running nightly in bedrooms around the world. Claire, the anxious lover, feels unloved. "Why don't you hold me like you used to?" she whispers at midnight, her voice cracking like an old record. Daniel stares at the ceiling, already halfway out of his own skin. He's not cruel, mind you, just overwhelmed. Underneath his stoicism is a child who learned long ago that intimacy meant obligation, or chaos, or both. Claire, in her desperate quest for connection, pushes harder. "Talk to me. Now." Even if it's 2 a.m., even if Daniel is practically horizontal with exhaustion. And Daniel? He shuts down. Cold, distant. He needs space, not because he doesn't care, but because he fears the weight of that connection. So he drifts toward distraction, silence, sometimes even infidelity. Not out of lust, but relief. Let's pause here. Because this isn't just their story, is it? Maybe it's your story, or your best friends, or your parents. This pairing, anxious and avoidant, is more common than socks at Christmas. It's not just personal, it's archetypal. We're talking about millions of little Claire and Daniel dramas unfolding across the globe, at coffee shops, in text messages, over awkward dinners. And here's the kicker. These two types are drawn to each other, like moths to a flame, or more precisely, like a moth to a cold, detached lamp that occasionally flickers with warmth. Now, one might say, well, why don't they just leave each other alone? But love is rarely rational. These patterns don't stem from the mind, but the marrow. Our unconscious seeks out familiar pain, hoping this time, it will end differently. But it doesn't. Not unless we learn. And that, my dear listener, is the lifeline. Knowledge. You see, if Claire knew that her craving for constant reassurance was the echo of a childhood where affection was inconsistent, she might pause before sending that seventh message. If Daniel understood that his urge to flee was the result of growing up with smothering or emotionally absent caregivers, he might resist the impulse to emotionally hibernate every time things got intimate. It's not about becoming perfect. Heaven forbid. It's about understanding, naming the dragon before it burns down the village. I've known couples, remarkable ones, who've made it work. How? Not with grand romantic gestures, but with language, with humor, with the courage to say, I'm triggered right now. I need a moment, but I love you, and I'm coming back. That, to me, is romance, not fireworks, but the ability to de-escalate a nuclear argument with a wry smile and a gentle truth, to laugh in the face of your dysfunction and still choose each other. Day after day. Let me tell you, there's something disarmingly beautiful about a couple sitting on the edge of a fight, and one of them says, "Ah, there's my avoidant side showing up again." And the other replies, "And here comes my anxious spiral. Fancy a cup of tea?" It's not magic, it's skill. Love is not a gift you either have or you don't. It's a discipline. And like any craft, it takes practice, patience, and a willingness to look in the mirror and say, "Well, I've been a bit of a lunatic today, haven't I?" So, if you're listening to this, perhaps nodding along with a tight chest or a rueful smile, know this: you are not broken, you are patterned, and patterns can be unlearned. With time, with kindness, with curiosity. Anxious-avoidant relationships are not doomed, but they do require a level of self-awareness and communication that most fairy tales never bothered to include. And perhaps that's the real fairy tale. Not the prince, not the castle, but two wounded souls, brave enough to stay at the table and keep talking, even when it's uncomfortable, even when one wants to run and the other wants to cling, even when it's Tuesday and the pasta's overcooked, and no one has said, "I love you," in days. That is love worth fighting for. And so, as you walk back into your own emotional landscapes, remember, the anxious need not chase, the avoidant need not run. There's a bench in the middle. Sit there, together, and maybe bring biscuits. Now, wouldn't that be something?
If you believe this video might help someone dear to you, share it with them. A small gesture on your part could mean the world to a friend in need.